Native American Indians and speckled bird Israelites being Israelite foreigners scattered across the four corners of the earth, including within America.
Deja de estudiar inglés.
We are the Most High Yahweh, chosen people of the nation of Israel. So without further ado, as always, in Allah Shwan Kodash, as in Holy Tongue, being a Paleo Hebrew, as in ancient Hebrew, I'm going to give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is the God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Baruch, Rash, which is all praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, and the Holy Spirit, who is our strength and our Redeemer, and our light and our salvation. In the same tongue, Adam Mashana, Kabawadim, Lahas Quanium, Shalgadawar Bakab, meaning double honors to the apostles and elder bishops, great millstone, and Shalom honors and salutation to Bayashid Abadah, the 144,000 elected governing body of the House of David, along with the rest of the 1/3 elect men, women, and children of Israel. All right, it's fellow servant Malak Rayash back at it again with another video regarding this whole DOGE $5,000 refund check report that DJT has proposed, through Congress. All right, is a further part of a further part of withholding wasted government spending through a process known as impoundment. All right, in which he's by targeting these specific agencies like the IRS and so forth, to impound or to withhold this government wasted spending, and to reward it or to allocate it as a refund check or a $5,000 refund check, which is counterproductive because he's presenting this $5,000 DOGE refund check as a gift, as a snare, disguised as a gift, because it's only going to benefit the economy and not the people, but only temporarily, meaning it's not going to heal the economy ultimately, because this place is at the point of no return debt wise of the U.S. economy being well over $36 trillion in debt. All right. So at the expense of, thousands upon thousands of federal workers being laid off, he is also simultaneously presented this $5,000 DOGE refund check, which is kind of productive by way of the mass layoffs of the thousands. All right. And so I'm going to play this video, all right, to further expound on this on this point, on how this refund check, this $5,000 DOGE refund check, is not for the benefit of taxpayers. Okay, because through consumerism, all right, once the money is spent, it's gone. It doesn't belong to us. All right, through the Federal Reserve tax. All right, it's like the Federal Reserve Act. All right, so we're going to play a couple of videos and filter everything to biblical privacy, and out of Amratazaz and Lord willing, to be further edifying these oriented elect.
Comienza a hablar inglés. Vamos a empezar a practicar inglés.
Right,
Today is February 19th, and we have two top stories developing. One is around DOGE and the ongoing efforts to cut government waste and abuse, and the other is the ongoing situation with Ukraine, and this is definitely a little bit less positive. But starting with the news from DOGE, or the Department of Government Efficiency, so far the tally here, it's $55 billion in total savings. And to make this more tangible, DOGE did just launch an official government website where they publish all of the receipts to these savings. Again, as of right now, the total number is $55 billion, and they claim this is a combination of fraud detection, cancellation of contracts, the sale of various assets, cancellation of grants, workforce reduction, and pragmatic along with regulatory savings. But the key bit of news here today is, as this money continues to pile up, the stated goal of reaching $2 trillion, there's a new idea to implement a DOGE dividend, or simply a check back to the taxpayer. It looks like this tweet on X is the origination of this concept, and in this official document, they state how this DOGE dividend would potentially work. So with the target of a $2 trillion savings, tax. The idea is to take 20% of that and return it to the taxpayer. And 20% of a $2 trillion savings, it's $400 billion. And if you divide that by the 79 million households that pay federal income tax, that's a DOGE dividend of $5,000. Now, this is just theoretical, but Elon did reply to this tweet saying, quote, "We'll check with the president." So that's the latest developments and updates with DOGE. But the second developing story of the day is around Ukraine and foreign policy. So when it comes to the war in Ukraine, Trump has made it very clear that he wants the conflict to come to a conclusion.
I want to see peace. Look.
So what that means is that he wants to cut off he's proposing to cut off the funding to Ukraine. Right, it's a part of that proposition of making America great again by empowering its citizens, at least in a financial aspect. And this is what the whole, purpose of this whole $5,000 DOGE refund check is for. All right, it's to propose the benefit of withholding as much tax on income tax and other any other forms of taxes, and to put more money in the pockets of U.S. taxpayers. All right. So in case in point, the reason why this is a snare or a trap presented as a gift, as it says in Ecclesiastes 7:7, all right, how a gift destroyed the heart. All right, isn't the heart in the Hebrew is lab as in mind. So in order to keep one as a slave, you have to destroy them mentally. And what better way to do that through one of the kindest gestures that you can think of in terms of giving somebody money. So it's very clever on the left hand side, and these reprobates of America, Babylon the Great, are going to fall for it because they're at that point, invested, emotionally and spiritually in America, Babylon the Great, in the modern day Egypt. They don't see, they're not going to see this $5,000 refund check, but any other way except for benefit, through a kind gesture. All right. Case in point. So I'm going to continue.
You know why I want? Because I don't want all these people killed anymore. I'm looking at people that are being killed, and they're Russian and Ukrainian people, but they're people. Doesn't matter where they're from on the whole planet. And I think I have the power to end this war.
And that in isolation is a very just.
And this is why Trump had recently said that Zelensky has claimed that he doesn't know where the money is gone in terms of our taxpaying dollars that has been used to fund the slaughter over there in Ukraine. Right, case in point. So Trump is like, all right, well, I want to end it. So that means no more taxpaying dollars spent. And then Zelensky said that Ukraine is not for sale because Zelensky is not a puppet of the wicked elite central bankers. And at some point, he most likely will be eliminated once they're done using them. But from there, I'm going to play this video here.
It was 1,400.
On a 9 minute. All right, we're at a 10-minute mark.
Task, which isn't even a very important task. We have thousands of people, okay, hundreds of thousands of people that are working for the federal government but working at home. We also now know that many of those people that have been working at home had second jobs. They started businesses where now they're bringing in multiple incomes. But yet, their first employer, the federal government, doesn't realize that. And so now there's discussions of, well, maybe we're going to try to claw that money back. Here's what I can tell you. The Trump administration is looking at ways to not only reduce your tax liabilities moving forward, but they're now looking at all the wasted funding. That what could we do for this? Well, we could claw it back and use it to pay down our national deficit. But that's not really what the American people thought was going to happen. Now, would the American people be satisfied with that? Maybe. But according to reports, according to multiple lawmakers, what the Trump administration is now looking at is, could we claw all this money back and issue refund checks to millions and millions of people? Because guess what a refund check is going to do? It's going to put money back into their pockets so that they can buy a house, go and buy a car, buy new clothing, okay, pay off their bills, pay utility payments, right? They can put food on the table. They can actually contribute, and the economy will be booming if this happens. But at the same time, inflation is also going up. So this is going to be a tricky move, but according to the...
Exactly, because this is going to further lead into inflation, not the tax cutting itself, but rather replacing income tax with the increased tariff tax, in which Trump has been proposing to impose these tariff taxes, which are tariffs or taxes on these goods, on these foreign goods that these nations export into America, which is like shooting yourself in the foot for the fact that America is the biggest consumer on the earth. All right, through these imports, we as a U.S. taxpayer, taxpayers would also inherit these taxes from these tariffs. All right, through increased goods, which is eventually going to further lead into inflation. Then on top of that, that wasn't bad enough. You have the whole bird affluenza situation, further increasing the price of eggs. All right, so this is all death by 1,000 cuts, another war tactic. So this refund check is not a benefit at all, because if they go through with this and we get the $5,000, it's only temporary money that we're going to recycle back into the economy. Okay, so I'm going to continue this.
Any reports that I've read just over the past couple of weeks, the Trump administration is looking at potentially refunding millions of Americans. And that way they can contribute to a booming economy. So,
well, a booming economy can only take place with a continuance of consumerism. Right? So how can you really expect consumerism to truly benefit this economy when Trump just cut thousands upon thousands of federal jobs? So it's kind of productive of this whole $5,000 DOGE refund check. So I'm going to get this first precept in Sirach chapter 12 and verse 16. And it reads, "An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagines how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood." Here's the point of verse 17. "If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee," okay, "yet shall he undermine thee." So he's pretending to help the U.S. Citizens, all right, the U.S. taxpayers whom are U.S. citizens, with this whole DOGE, $5,000 DOGE refund check, okay, putting more money in one's pockets, which is nice, but it's only temporary. And you're not doing that, okay, he's not doing that to be kind, out of the kindness of his so-called heart. Okay, so whether you subscribe to Republican Party, Democrat Party, which is really vanity to subscribe to any party, because they're two sides of the same coin that watches each other's back, so to say. All right, because they answer to the same master, the wicked central bankers. So I'm going to grab this next precept in the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 7, and it reads. And it reads, "Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart." All right. Once again, it's the mind. Heart in the Hebrew is la'ab, meaning mind. All right. And this is another concept of destroying the heart or the mind in terms of these goyim, the wicked central bankers, on behalf of these, the Zionist, party. All right. So to say, refer to people as goyim, all right, bottomless cattle, all right, bottomless sheep, all right. In this case, really, is bottomless cattle. Okay, the lower tier of of species. Okay, they don't look at these people as people, and they're the ones that are giving Trump his orders. So this is a snare, a trap presented as a gift in regard to this $5,000 DOGE refund check, as it goes to further expound on that. Jump down to verse 12. It says, "For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense." All right, money is a defense. So you give somebody money, you're increasing their defense, and it will come across as a kind gesture, like they care about you. And that's especially going to be the case in this day's economy in America, Babylon the Great, where the majority of people are struggling, living paycheck to paycheck, and what more so now, in this inflationary period, which is only going to get worse, because by Trump talking about increasing the tariff tax on foreign goods that America imports, okay, that's not a benefit to the U.S. taxpayers. because they're going to inherit those taxes from those tariffs, okay, through these goods, through these higher priced goods by way of this provoked trade war, okay, which has already taken place with Canada, and Trudeau's not playing. All right, Trudeau, is talking about he threatened Trump in Babylon, America, by saying, all right, well, if Trump goes through with this trade war, being despite the fact that Canada is a longtime trade partner of Canada and a top NATO ally, then we're gonna retaliate. All right. So it says, for wisdom is a defense and money is a defense, but the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. All right, because wisdom is more precious than rubies. It says in Proverbs, the 13th chapter. That's the Proverbs, the 3rd chapter, Salakia. So I'm going to get Haggai, the 6th verse, Haggai 1 and 6. All right, and it reads, ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. Okay, but every time we accumulate, our wages, it's a further reminder that these wages don't belong to us. Okay, because we always have to recycle these wages back into the economy, by purchasing the things that we need, our necessities. All right, through grocery shopping, right, through grocery shopping. All right, rent, mortgage payments. All right, clothing, as it speaks about here. Keeping raiment on ourselves, clothing. All right, case in point. All right, so we're constantly in a deficit. All right, so there's no true benefit behind this $5,000 DOGE refund check. All right, because we're always recycling this money that we get, once again, by way of the Federal Reserve tax. It's like the Federal Reserve Act. So let me see. So I'm gonna play 2 more videos, grab a few more precepts, and that's that. I'm gonna keep this relatively brief, but let me see. All right, so with that, we'll grab Habakkuk 2 and 5. And it says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires hell, and his wine is Western philosophy. All right, including his democracy, the guise in which he justifies himself in his heart of invading these other lands to exacerbate and exhaust their resources, like Haiti, Venezuela, so forth. So it says, who enlarges his desires hell and is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gather into him all nations. It's lucky. And heapeth into him all people. Here's the point in verse 6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increased that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. All right, and the Hebrew word for clay is abadi, is in debt. And that's exactly what Esau's inherited. Okay, through the petrodollar, where these nations have to, these nations, all right, have to exchange their own independent foreign currency, through these treasury bonds, okay, in order to do business with America, Babylon the Great, through the petrodollar, all right, and thus inheriting debt. That further confirms that America is in a great debt deficit. All right, so this once again, this check is counterproductive. All right, so I'm going to play this this video.
May soon become follow the lawmaker when it comes to playing the stock market. Tonight we look at a new app that allows you to copy trades made by congressional leaders. Congressional correspondent Aisha Hasni shows us from Capitol Hill.
You can't beat them, you might as well join them.
That's exactly what Chris Joseph set out to do when he co-founded Autopilot, a new app that lets you copy stock trades made by lawmakers. Members have 45 days to disclose their moves, and when that becomes public, the app replicates those trades using your money. There's even a tool to track former Speaker Nancy Pelosi's investments, whose yearly average return is reportedly 31%. The founders created Autopilot to put pressure
from the bill's press release. The fair tax, President Trump is now considering getting rid of the income tax. Take a listen.
As I said in my speech last week, instead of taxing our citizens to enrich foreign nations, we should be tariffing and taxing foreign nations to enrich our citizens.
At first, I kind of thought this was a joke, but Congress is taking it seriously. The Fair Tax Act of 2025 was a bill proposed which would effectively abolish the IRS. And if you still don't believe me, let me read you one sentence from the bill's press release. The fair tax would also eliminate the need for the Internal Revenue Service. Now, you're probably wondering, if the government decides to cancel your income tax, how do they get money? Which might explain why Trump has also been working to create the ERS, the External Revenue Service, as a new entity to collect tariffs. That's why in this video, I want to talk about taxes, not from a political perspective, but from a financial perspective, because as a licensed attorney who's not your attorney, who keeps a copy of the federal income tax code in his office, which is, by the way, a 2,000-page book with 8 or 10-point font, I can tell you that taxes are very confusing, and they might get even more confusing. And so I want to break this down by talking about three things. Number one, I want you to really understand how our tax system works today, that we can understand how tariffs flow into make the inflation problem worse. This is you from a taxes all and the government cuts down their $100 at retail price. Now, if I manufacture the shoe in China, I'm not paying $100 for the shoe. Let's just say I'm paying $50 to get the shoe manufactured in China, theoretical example. Now, if there is a brand new 20% tariff that's slapped onto goods from China, that means now my cost on this is not going to be $50, my cost is going to be $60. Now, I have a few options. I could eat up this profit for $100.
All right, see, these are the type of taxes.
Tariff ultimately gets passed down to how much things you buy. If you're not buying the things with tariffs, then the prices of those things may not go up and you may not feel that impact onto you. So this is where, again, uncertainty. We don't know what will see tariffs. We don't know which countries will see tariffs. We don't know to what extent tariffs will be, meaning how high the tariffs will be, and we don't know what countries will do in response to that. In addition to that, we also don't know what Trump is going to do with it.
Yeah, so that uncertainty is going to, it's going to further lead into distress. I mean, it sounds good, the whole, $5,000 DOGE refund check, but it's eventually going to result in chaos because of the effects of how he's looking to cut government wasted spending. All right, so I'm going to play this last video.
How many words do you think you know? Or does it matter anyway? Knowing more words
from employees from the Department of Education.
The Trump administration's the Department of Government Efficiency is cutting more federal jobs. Layoffs are now impacting the Internal Revenue Service and the Federal Aviation Administration, among other agencies. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the latest from Washington.
Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is sweeping through the federal workforce, armed with what they say is a mandate from American voters.
We want to downsize government, but make it better. Run it better, but downsize.
The administration faces a slew of legal challenges as DOGE fires thousands of government employees from the Department of Education, USAID, the Federal Aviation Administration, and other agencies. Among the questions beyond the firings, what exactly is DOGE getting access to? At one point over the weekend, the White House appeared to confirm DOGE workers got access to the IRS database, which holds the personal financial information of millions of Americans. The White House later seemed
seemed to backtrack, saying a DOGE member simply requested access to the system. Hundreds protesting DOGE's actions outside of federal buildings, from Washington, D.C. to Las Vegas, where some of the more than 1,000 people working with the Department of Veterans Affairs were dismissed.
Hey, I'm on board with efficiency, saving money, but I don't think it should be on the backs of our federal employees.
Peter Ketchum-Caldwell worked for the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau until DOGE shut it down last week. The financial security of these once financial watchdogs is now up in the air.
It's a lot of uncertainty. We haven't even received our separation paperwork yet.
The administration also sent termination letters to several of the Department of Energy's nuclear workers. They then reversed course and are now trying to rehire some of those critical employees. But according to an internal email obtained by ABC News, they're having a hard time getting in touch with them. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Yeah, so a lack of jobs is not going to result in a booming economy because there's less consumerism. So this is Isaiah 19. Let me see. Isaiah 19 and 15. I'm going to grab that. And it reads, neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do. All right, there's not going to be any work for modern-day Egypt. All right, America, Babylon the Great, the house of bondage. All right, it says, in that day shall Egypt be likened to women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashah of hosts, which he shaketh over it. All right, so, people in modern day Egypt are going to be likened to women, specifically the men. All the might and the mirth and the surety, in the system is going to be at a standstill. And their entire lives are going to be up in balance where they're going to, which is going to further result in a civil war, in which that civil war is going to further lead into a full-fledged war. So this is verse 17. Let me see. Verse 17 reads, and the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord Yahweh by Shem Yashah of hosts, which he determined against it. So land of Judah representing so-called Negroes. Okay, is it in kingdom of Judah, specifically the tribe of Judah, so-called Negroes will further rise up and be a terror to mighty Egypt, America. All right, because it says in Genesis 49 chapter, when it speaks about how what would it take for Judah to rise up? Okay, case in point. All right, and that's going to because our people are going to be distressed. Okay, all right, and let me see. All right, so I'm going to segue over to, let me see, 2nd Ezra 15, get straight down to the point. Verse 16, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, says, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning there's going to be sedition amongst these tyrannical, corrupt governments. Okay, because speaking of corruption, for Trump to come out and just the mere proposition of this $5,000 DOGE refund check for U.S. taxpayers further confirms there's corruption within these government entities and agencies that he wants to allocate this funding from, all right, by further withholding it through the process of impoundment. All right, just to present himself as a good guy. Okay. That's not a snare that people are going to fall for because they're desperate. This is verse 17. It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. All right, they're going to cut down, they're going to shut down the borders. All right, nobody comes in, nobody goes out. All right. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right, so people, the whole fake civility in America, Babylon the Great, it's going to be over and done with. Okay. You see here. It says, verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right, lack of bread means a lack of income. Okay, a lot of people are going to continue to get laid off. All right. All right. And, a lot of people are going to, be in financial straits. All right, including, the disabled. All right, veterans. All right. There are certain disabled individuals and veterans that only get a handful of food stamps. That's barely enough to buy a couple of items. Case in point. So these people whose names were written in the earth to marvel after these beasts system are going to take matters into their own hands to further fulfill these prophecies, indulging in a civil war due to a scarcity of resources. And this is what this whole DOGE situation is going to further lead into, along with these trade wars. All right. So it says, so this is Habakkuk 2, back in verse 6, and it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties into them, as in booties and spoils of war? It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Right? Regarding these foreign nations. It says, because of men's blood and for the violence of the land of the city and of all that dwell therein, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. Verse 12 says, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood and establisheth the city by iniquity. All right. So, these, Trump looking to increase the tariff tax to replace income tax, okay, is further war provocations through trade wars, and all trade wars, as in of banking wars, leads to full-fledged war, and that's going to be no exception in this in these perilous times we're living in, where America, Babylon the Great, as a result of this, America, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed, all right, by her enemies, and all those who remain will be destroyed by Yahushua and the angels when Yahushua returns to redeem the elect of Israel. All right, so all right, so with that, I'm going to end it off on that. All right, pray this further edifying His ordinance to elect. Give all praises, glory, infinite honor to my power, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom is God of the living, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Baruch Rash, which is our praise to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh. In the name of His only begotten Son, Yahushai, who is our strength and our Redeemer, our light and our salvation. That above the ball, soon and very soon. Shalom to the elect, and on to the next one. All right, shalom, shalom. Yahweh Shem Shabbat Katam.